Good morning, good afternoon, everyone. Happy July 1st. Holy cow. It's July already. Happy early 4th of July. Um, and I am joined, as always, with my co-host, Tom Cotter, for our Tuesday team training. So like this video, share this recording. Everyone is welcome on this Tuesday team training. Power Hitter Solar Warrior Tribe, a special hello. Tom Cotter, how are we doing?
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. I'm just representing all the Central and East Coast time zone people right now.
That's fine. Good morning to everybody that matters. I'm just kidding. Just yeah. Well, let's kick this off here. Let's get going because we have some great updates for you as always. We do like to start this off with some success stories and wins. So if you want, type them in the chat, raise your hand, come off of mute. Let us know about a deal you closed, a referral you got. Maybe you dropped off a closing gift to a client. Maybe you were tagged on a Facebook post. Maybe you presented solar, had an installation, signed up an ambassador, signed up a setter, talked to a real estate agent. I know I just had a $7,500 commission on a 70-day install in Southern California I posted about yesterday, which was amazing. And it was GoodLeap TPO, like we'll be talking about today. So raise your hand, come off of mute. Let's get a few success stories and wins from this last week or two. Don't be shy.
I'll jump in. I had one proposal yesterday. Well, it was kind of a proposal. This was a referral that came in, and in the three-way text introduction, the homeowner in Orange, California, said, sorry, I just pulled it up here. Basically, he said, "Can you email me a base proposal? I'm comparing you all with two other vendors. I don't know if everybody's got one of those. Just send me a quote, right?" So here's
Yeah.
what I said. I said, totally get wanting to compare. Before I send anything over, would you be open to sharing the other quotes you're looking at? Been doing solar for a while, and sometimes things can look a little bit different, but end up costing more depending on the equipment or the financing. If I can see what you're comparing, I'll make sure mine's actually apples to apples. And if I can't beat or explain why ours is better, I'll just tell you straight up, and sent him my email. So, like 10 minutes later, he replied, sent. So, I just texted him back and said, hey, I sent you all the apples to apples. So it was Qtron panels, 430 watt, two power walls. It was a 20 kilowatt system with only two power walls. Um, but I beat it by $4,400. Um, better warranty, than what they had. So it turned into a proposal over the phone last night. So he should sign today.
Nice, Tom. Love it, love it.
Great story. Wow.
All right. Let's go ahead and go to Mohammed.
Mohammed.
Good morning, guys. How are you doing?
Amazing.
So, yeah, I just want some share some success stories, as I mentioned. So last Tuesday night, I did close three deals back to back in one night in Illinois. So those were a hat trick
Sweet.
in one day.
That's
Uh,
awesome.
Completed an install, I think early last week, and heading to another install today. So got an install today and tomorrow. So I will be there, and we'll make sure to try to get some more leads, and definitely getting some more leads coming this way. So trying to push it hard for this month.
Nice job, Mohammed. Three deals in one day. That's amazing. Keep it rocking. Now's the time with summer. So good job there. Let's go to Mr. Blue Steel. David. Come off of mute.
I like how the people come back after you talk to them. I talked to this one guy. I want to say I talked to him in 23, and then again in 24, and he just messaged me like, yeah, I really need to do this now. I'm like, you think? So he sent me his utility bill. We're meeting at noon, but he's finally going to go for it. And it was one of those customers that's like, yeah, I'm going to move the solar from this house to this house, and I'm going to do that over here, and I'm going to do like a fix it kind of semi contractor guy. But yeah, he's going to get two power walls, and it's like about a 15K system. So happy when they come in like that.
Yep. Yep.
Nice, David. That's it. Fortune is in the follow up. I just signed a lead from 2020 myself, so nuggets there, nuggets. Now's the time, especially with the news and announcement today. Let's do one more share from our best Central California closer, Scott Crum. What's up, Scott?
Hello, hello. It's timing's everything sometimes. I log on here, I barely get on, you guys barely start talking, and my phone rings. And I thought, I should just go ahead and answer it. I'll just put you guys on mute. I answered it to, hey, Scott, is that quote still good? And I'm like, yes, it is. It's like, okay, when can you come over? I'm ready to sign. So I now have an appointment for Thursday evening to go get a snag contract for another deal. Just, it's timing is everything, and you love hearing those first words on the when you answer the phone. Is that quote still good?
What is that come over to my house thing that you just mentioned there? I don't know what that
I
is.
know, and I don't even need to do it, but I want to do it. I want to take some pictures, and I also it's a way to potentially meet more people. But I understand. I still envious of you able to close from from the moon.
I remember what it's like. You show up to somebody's house and, oh, we got dinner going. Do you want to stay? I remember what that's like.
Yep.
Good old days.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
Nice job,
Congrats,
Scott.
Scott.
Good to see you, brother. Type any more success stories and wins in the chat. I know there's a lot going on out there. And I hope you guys are ready. It's summertime. There's urgency and deadlines ahead. The Facebook community groups are lighting the heck up right now. So buckle up. Let's get to work. Keep this thing moving. Future trainings, as always, TPO Aurora Sales Success Lounge is Tuesdays and Thursdays, 11 Pacific. If you're new here, Power Up Monday and Wednesday, or your setters, you want to get them on that call. Next Monday, July 7th, we have an operations monthly executive call updating us on all things operations. I've asked for specifically to touch on operations and maintenance, right? So repairs, things like that, and a few other hot topics. And as always, setter surge, market development meetings, so much going on in Powur Calendar. If anyone here, Colby, Chris Mitchell, can put in the chat, we have an in-person Las Vegas recruiting business presentation at the best installer out here, RG Electric. So we can build into that, attend that. I will definitely be there as well. Real quickly, this is the newsletter that came out yesterday with Jonathan's update as far as the Senate adapting, changing in his vision. We will touch on some of these updates today. Limited hours for the holiday 4th of July weekend. Some notices as far as do not call registries, texting and calls to make sure you're staying in compliance. Enphase battery and meter collar backup switch updates. And the July 26th Virginia event is here as well. So make sure to read your Monday newsletter for all things, all events. And thank you, Colby, for putting in the chat. July 15th, we will be having a Tuesday night meeting in Las Vegas in person to go over this business presentation. And I can't stress enough, the tax credit in 6 months will likely be gone. Now is the time to build every freaking market, guys. You all know someone in Vegas. So let's get butts in seats. Let's get to this event. Thank you, Colby, for sharing that.
And all that building that you're going to be doing, not just selling, but building, that's going to help you with what is next with Powur as well. So we've got exciting stuff that we're going to be announcing, that Jonathan Budd is going to be announcing once the bill is finalized and it's actually law.
Take it away, Tom.
All right, before we jump into some GoodLeap TPO training today, I want to play just a quick clip from Joe Navarro on the Diary of a CEO podcast. He's an expert in body language, nonverbal communication. He's a former FBI agent, and he's studied confidence for a long time. And his point, and this is relative if you are meeting face-to-face with homeowners and presenting solar, whether you are presenting over Zoom or Meet, and in your recruiting efforts as well. Joe's point is that confidence doesn't come from what you say, it comes from what you prove to yourself. And he's going to talk about how being great at one thing, even something small, can create a ripple effect that levels up other parts of your business, your life. So as you watch this, ask yourself, what's the one thing that you do right now that makes you feel unstoppable? Let's watch this.
The easiest way to learn confidence is to be confident about one thing. I don't care if it's you stack papers better than anybody else. I don't care if it's the way you make your bed, any small thing. Show me that you're confident. Show me that that's better than anybody else's. And the minute you can be confident about one thing, now you can be confident about two things. And then you can be confident about three things. This nonsense that I see people say, well, just come in and be confident. I think that's nonsense. I think you have to learn, your physiology has to learn to be confident about one thing. With me, I was confident in playing football. Okay, I was fast, I could do certain things. I was confident about that. I knew that in basketball, I could shoot a three-pointer. Okay, confident about that, but not confident about a host of other things. To be in a room full of executives, I remember when I had no confidence. So how do I work on that? You cannot, unless you're a world-class actor, you cannot walk into a place and all of a sudden pretend you're confident. I tell people, learn to be confident about one thing. And sometimes it's knowledge. There is no meeting I go into that I am not well read on that subject. If you want to achieve confidence, know everything that you can about a particular subject, and that gives you so much great confidence. And I've seen young people come right out of college and they're sitting there, their elbows are in, they're almost mousy looking, they're nervous, they're looking about constantly, they don't know where to look. And I tell them, know your subject, because the minute they begin to talk about that, they begin to flower and change.
So this week, the invitation is to get really good at one thing and to own that. Maybe regarding solar financing, that one thing is going to be GoodLeap TPO. It's built right into Vision, so it's quick, it's simple, and it removes a lot of the friction around the tax credit and system ownership. So that is advice that could really help you if you are new or newer to solar sales. Maybe forget being average at all of the financing options that we have, at every kind of lead generation there is, at 25 different states and hundreds of different utilities. Maybe you just narrow down and get really good at one kind of financing, one kind of lead generation in one utility. And to sum all this up, build confidence through mastering one thing at a time, and watch how that unlocks your confidence and how you show up differently. So let's talk about some GoodLeap TPO.
Good reminders, Tom. I shared a podcast in the chat. Kevin O'Leary was saying the same thing today. Just the posture and stance and presence. He can tell a winner very quickly. So good reminder there, and a pretty cool podcast in the chat. Y'all know I love social media. So social media share of the day. These pictures are already in the chat thread. I dare you to pick one of these two and post it today. So on Facebook, just put my OnlyFans is up and running. Preview is in the comments. And then comment, the first comment, the picture of some fans. So nothing wrong there. And it's funny because it's summertime and it's hot and it's catchy and it's yeah, so that'll get some attention. Get your feed going, get people noticing you, and it's related to solar. You know I love summertime here because this is my favorite summer post of the year. I do this every year. So Snoop Dogg, me checking electric bill. Please don't be high. Electric bill, Snoop Dogg. You can read between the lines. So y'all do some posts on social media, get out there, have some fun. These posts is what gets attention, gets eyeballs, gets clicks, gets the algorithms going, right? Not the boring, oh, the tax credit's ending. If you need 12 grand, reach out to me. Like those are cool, but this is way cooler. You see what I did there? Cooler. All right, moving on. My brother is in Portugal. He's a little bit tied up this week on one of the islands of Portugal, so tough for him. Friendly reminder here. I love this getting started with Powur page. If anyone is new here, they need a reminder. This is like a 4 to 5 week success plan. This thing is so dialed. Setter certification, attend your Powur up, enter leads, onboarding call, set up e-wallet, warm sphere, book your appointment. Join Facebook, learn some basics, make your list with links built in. It's so legit. We literally have all the tools for anyone to come in here with the trainings and start to have momentum right now. My brother and I's recruiting calls are on fire these last few weeks. Everyone is looking for a side hustle, side income, new job, work from home, remote career, period. One of the best things about Powur is all the revenue streams we have. The passive income fills the gaps between your lack of sales or installs, okay? So recruit. That's one of the two things we do to make money. Yeah, thank you. I'm feeling spicy today. So I put a few bullet points here before we start with the big bill updates and some TPO. You know, I'm just going to do a little real direct talk real quick with the help of ChatGPT. You control the outcome. You control your income. If you're not making enough money, sell more, recruit more. If you don't have enough freedom in your life, if you can't take your family on vacation or buy that house, sell more, recruit more. If you're not in shape, that might be a discipline problem. If your business is not in shape, are you treating it like a business with discipline? I'm so tired of seeing that if only Powur did this, if only this person did this, I just need this one thing. No, you don't. You don't need anything. Like you just need to sell more deals. Join the networking groups, make the calls, knock the doors, follow up, show up. You don't need permission. You need consistency and action. The only thing that matters is selling and recruiting. So if you're down for this for the next 6 months, the biggest run ever, 6-figure, multiple 6-figure, give me a 1 in the chat because this is the only thing that matters. We are the best nationwide platform still standing, period. Freaking period. So let's go. All right. Let me take a breath. I'm so
True.
so
True.
I'm so laser focused right now. All right, Tom, let's do some quick updates on the big, beautiful bill, and then we'll have some fun TPO training. So what happened this morning?
It passed. Well, it passed the US Senate by a vote of 51 to 50, with the vice president breaking that tie. So the Senate was kind of gridlocked there. So despite there being some improvements in the final hours, bottom line is
here you'll find all.
nope. So bottom line is this legislation still undermines, American manufacturing and the comeback that, that we had started towards. It still undermines America's global leadership. And I'll just touch on a few things, but I want to be clear that it's not over yet. This is not law. It still needs to pass a final vote in the House. So, everyone is encouraged in the industry, every business, every, salesperson, every setter, every advocate, even every homeowner, customer, call your House member and share the message that this isn't good enough, that we're not satisfied with this. We need a longer glide path for 25D. But what exists right now, what was passed through the Senate, there was an excise tax, so there's no new excise tax now on solar projects. That was removed from the bill in final hours. That was a crazy thing that got added in there, a tax on people going solar. Section 25D, so the credit will not apply to expenditures made after the end of this year. So December 31st, 2025. So tax credit for loans and cash, we got that through the end of the year. Okay. Sections 45Y and 48E. So they need to be, so this is leasing and PPAs that are, relative to our work at Powur. Those need to be placed in service with the deadline of December 31st, 2027. And the placed in service requirement does not apply to battery storage. So there could be some developments there with what we are doing at Powur. So leases and PPAs, those are good for now. That's the message there. So the urgency is for loans, for cash through the end of the year, and also for PPAs and leases. The urgency is there, even though that will exist for longer. It's a step down. And so the message there is that the incentives for leasing solar are stepping down and ending as well. Lots of urgency that is to our benefit in what we do.
So the 30% federal tax credit, we will double check the language, but expenditures need to be this year in 2025. So Tom, that might be contract signing, $1,000 deposit, $500 deposit.
There will be some guidance that comes out around what that is defined as. But it's not placed in service, right? It's expenditures right now, which is better for us, a little bit longer time horizon.
If I were you, I would be telling all my customers, you need to sign up in the next 60, 90 days, period, to get 30% tax credit, which equates to 12 grand, 14 grand. Otherwise, it's literally gone to zero next year. Leasing will still look good for the next 2 years, like Tom said. The system for a lease needs to be installed, placed in service by the end of 2027. But the urgency around the tax credit for those that want ownership is going to be enormous.
Yeah. And this, again, this is still going through the House. So it could get pulled back more. We don't know what's going to happen yet. So it's not done yet. That's why we still need to call representatives. But the urgency hasn't changed with homeowners. It's still there. We don't know what the final outcome is going to be yet, other than if you're going to do solar, do it now.
So it's being pushed to the House of Representatives since the Senate passed it this morning. There has been some urgency around 4th of July. So likely the House is, going to take a look at it these next 2 or 3 days. And if the House passes it, it goes to the president for signing. If the House has revisions, it could delay things if they can't get around it and approve it or get revisions done. So I think if the House passes it, this thing gets signed pretty quick. Otherwise, if there are revisions, things can change. None of this is set in stone at all. But I think we can have the biggest 6-month run we've ever had. And I think we got a little cherry for the next 2 years on the leasing TPO.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what we're going to talk about for the next 20 minutes is TPO leasing GoodLeap. So any questions on the big bill, please put it in the chat. Tom will get to it, or his AI assistant ChatGPT will get to it. But look, there's going to be a lot of updates coming out later today, and this thing still has to go to the House. So overall, decent news. We have somewhat of a glide path, and we have the products to continue kicking butt and help panel the planet here as we move forward. So, all right, let's keep this going. Feel free to ask those questions in the chat. All right. So today I wanted to talk about GoodLeap TPO, third party owned. Obviously, it's super important with this bill if it passes as it is, because TPO for the next 2 years is going to be really, really important. I'll even go as far to say that small and medium installers and sales orgs can't even get onboarded with GoodLeap if they're not doing hundreds of thousands of dollars of revenue. What does that mean? They need a home and a platform to get TPO with to stay in business. So boom, there's an opportunity right there alone. If you don't have GoodLeap TPO or LightReach TPO, I mean, you need a home to do that with a nationwide platform, and that's what Powur is. So I see green pastures ahead. TPO is a great product. I especially love the GoodLeap product. And we're going to check out the knowledge base, look at a quick proposal, and then I have an example contract we can go over a few bullet points of. So to start off with, GoodLeap in knowledge base. GoodLeap is our loan lender, but they also offer third-party owned leasing and PPA. So I'm going to go ahead and scroll down to GoodLeap TPO. And they have lease and PPA. Friendly reminder, the tax credits or domestic content credits go to the leasing company GoodLeap, and the repairs, maintenance, production guarantee, insurance is all taken care of by the TPO company. It's a 25-year agreement. There's options to buy at year 5 or time of sale. There's prepay options. So we're going to talk about all of these fun things for this product offering. In here in knowledge base, you can see TPO availability by state. So whether it's lease or PPA, you can see every state broken down with what's available. So Virginia is only lease, for example. Massachusetts is a great market, and they have both products there. You can also see lease and PPA solar with battery backup. That's with the blackout protection, or solar with a battery called energy shift without the blackout protection. And then you can also see if there's a no annual increase, 0% fixed, or what the annual escalators are per state. Super handy. So keeping going here down real quickly on knowledge base, GoodLeap TPO is in the vision proposal tool, which is so easy to use. We'll cover that in just a second. Equipment, vision takes care of that. TPO restrictions. At this time, the domestic content does not allow for ground mounts with GoodLeap. I believe LightReach has a ground mount adder, which is like 15 to 40 cents more per watt. So at this time, ground mounts don't work with TPO. For GoodLeap, at this time, GoodLeap does not allow second systems in California, which are called non-exports. Some markets, they do allow a second system, TPO, PPA, or lease. And then, you know, if you're working with a landlord that can say it's their second home, their vacation home, so be it. But technically speaking, GoodLeap does not allow non-owner occupied properties. So that is likely one of the questions on their verification call. So just be a little bit cautious, careful of that. Some lenders might be more forgiving than GoodLeap when it comes to non-owner occupied. You can watch the walkthrough for TPO here. We have 2 trainings every week on TPO, the TPO webinar. If we want, we can even look at this example contract in California with a battery backup, training presentations, resources, condition guides. They do require recheck, so make sure you are recheck certified. There's instructions how to do that as well, which is a third-party background check that lenders are using. And then they do have their verification onboarding process that I believe is in this webinar up here. So basically, when we go to Vision, we can run the soft credit check. Then we're going to send the agreement. If you're in California, there's a Public Utility Commission CPUC document that has to get signed first. Then the actual agreement, HIC, gets sent. Once that is signed off, then the customer will get a verification email from GoodLeap. They have to make sure their microphone video is turned on because they're going to be answering 5 to 6 questions on that call. One of those questions is, was anything promised that's not written in your contract? So if you snuck in a little bit of roof, electrical panel upgrade, a rebate, you know, you just have to let the customer know, hey, you do have to say that nothing else was promised that's not on the contract, and emailed you everything, and the plan set will include everything. So that's one little caveat for their verification email that has to be done. And then once you do that, you have a project off to the races with GoodLeap. So let's go ahead and look at Powur Vision. So I have a proposal here. And a little update, I think it might be for California only at this time, but GoodLeap, we're one of 3 companies that safe harbored Powerwall 3s from 2024. So this is amazing. We no longer need to have a solar edge or Enphase inverter with the Powerwall to meet the minimum domestic content requirement in California, I believe, at this time. So we do need to ensure that we have domestic content. Vision does that for us automatically. The Qtron panels and the Hanwha Qcell 410s, I believe, are the 2 that qualify for the domestic content. The Jinko Eagles do not qualify for the domestic content.
And if you all would like for us to have somebody from Q Cells come on and do some training about Qtron, let us know in the comments.
Yeah. I want to try to get Hanwha Q Cells on here in a week or 2 to train on the Qtron panel. So if you would like that, please let us know in the chat. The Barry, the question of the TPO company going out of business. Normally, when a TPO company like SunPower, Sonova goes out of business, someone buys those assets and maintain and operates them. So I forget the name of the company that bought SunPower's TPO assets, but they are there. Their customer service is so-so. it is looking like GoodLeap might be purchasing Sunnova's TPO assets. To be continued. I don't have all the information there, but that's what I'm seeing out there. So normally, Barry, when a TPO company goes under, someone buys and maintains those assets. All right, so I have the Qtrons, which meet the domestic content. This is California, so I can do 2 Powerwall 3s on this 10.3 system, 119% offset. This is in SoCal Edison, where utility rates are often 38, 39 cents a kilowatt hour. So they're used to paying over $413 a month. I'm going to scroll down here. Just in case you didn't know, in the financing type in the proposal or the menu, you can choose cash, EnFin, GoodLeap, or SunGage. So GoodLeap is the only TPO that's built into the provision proposal tool. You can see right here, power purchase agreement, backup battery, and solar, no escalator fixed, 0.99 annual escalator, 1.99, 2.99, 3.59. So I'm going to put it on 3.59 just to use this as an example. John, if you want to, I reached out to Helga from Q-Cells. They're all hands on deck right now for this bill. So they're going to try to get back to us. So I'm not sure. I think Helga and her team would be more responsible, but maybe it's Brian. But yeah, appreciate you offering, John Bobness. Okay, so 3.59 gets us a price of $229 with a 3.59 annual escalator. I'm going to scroll up here. I just want to show you guys. This is 18 cents a kilowatt hour with 2 Powerwall 3s. We know Edison goes up 6 to 9% per year for the last 3 to 5 years. Like this is ridiculous. These Sunrun door knockers are charging 30 cents, 28 cents for the same thing. So I just love this. And you're probably wondering, well, what's the commission? My margin is at 15,480. So if you are making 70% commission, that's almost 11 grand. If you're making 80% commission, that's over $12,300. 11 to 12 grand commission to put someone on 18 cents with the 3.5. This, I mean, do you guys agree with me? Like this is insane, insane pricing. I'm telling you, even if you compare it against a loan, like the no annual escalator, let's see what that looks like. All right, so after this, we'll do a quick contract review. Obviously, create your own proposal, play with this as much as you want. Powur averages an 8 to 9 kilowatt system, so maybe you do 1 battery, maybe you do something else. All right, so no annual escalator is 333, which is 27 cents a kilowatt hour they get to purchase that energy for. So I just think the GoodLeap TPO offering with the equipment that we have is unbeatable, unmatched, and the compensation's very high. Whether you like TPO or not, after this year, you will have to sell TPO for the next 2 years. Jarrett, what would you like to add, my man?
Just questions. Maybe you can cover this because obviously we're moving this direction more. But talk about one of the things, I guess, your knowledge about adding roofs or adding those type of things into the TPO. Like I have an HVAC company, we add those in, but definitely with re-roofs, I've noticed I've ran into some scenarios with cap issues and stuff. And just be curious to see what your workaround with that is.
Yeah, you're right. There is price per watt caps or price per kilowatt hour cap or savings caps. So, partial re-roof or whole home re-roof, sometimes you can get those in, but if the system's too small, you may not be able to fit it in. So I don't have a perfect answer on that. I think that the roofer could offer, a purchase on the side or a loan on the side would be one thought. in order to do that roof if you can't fit it in. Tom, do you have any? It varies so case by case on this topic.
Yeah, most of the ones I've seen, it's just a more expensive roof, a smaller solar project, or a average size solar project that has significant shade. So sometimes you just got to play around with it and see if there's a way that you can get that thing to work. It's, you know, it's PPAs and leases are not built to have roofing included in them because, I mean, if you think about it, the finance company is getting a tax credit on the roof, and there is probably no tax credit on that roof. So if you call them and ask them, no, they don't allow roofing to be added in.
You know,
So this is a workaround.
yeah, this will be a good question for the July 7th operations call next week on Monday. I know that it's our future goal in the next 2 to 3 quarters to offer standalone roofing.
Yeah.
So we will be able to sell a roof cash or loan on the side.
Yep.
I don't know if we can do that today with a TPO or not. That might be a one-off, but that is something that's being worked on. So that answers that part of that question as well.
Yeah, that would be the way to go, is to have two different finance products, one for the solar that's not owned by the customer, and then just a standard roof loan, you know, in addition to that.
Right. I know that I'm not sure if Powur can take a cash amount for the roof that did not fit and then fit some of the roof. So I'm not sure if that's a possibility at this time, but more to come on that. And I think it'd be good to clarify some of that stuff on the operations call. All right. So if there's any questions on pricing, Envision, escalators, this is a backup battery.
Would you, Jonathan, you know, one of the gauges that I use here is the 25-year savings. So can you just kind of walk through some of the different options real quick, and we can kind of talk to using that as a gauge for which one might be a better option for a homeowner who's really just looking at which one gives me the most savings over time. I'm planning to stay in my house for a while.
Yeah, good call out. And so just as a friendly reminder, this may vary by utility, but the annual increase of the utility on the menu here has to be 4% or under, even though we know it's been 6 to 9. So you do have to put 4% here. And I tell you that because this 25-year estimate of $413 a month today is only going up 4% per year, which we know can be double oftentimes. So this is very conservative. In 25 years, this house going up 4% could spend over $206,000. Savings over 25 years doing this TPO option, 2.9% at 243.
So if you take that 78,000, divide it by 25 years, divide it by 12 months, that's a savings of $260 a month on average over the time.
This goes up slower than the utility at 4%. And those are the savings. Let's try the 0% escalator. Oh, it already got a change here. The 0% escalator usually doesn't have as much savings in the first 8, 9, 10 years. But then after that, the savings continue to grow quite a bit. So at 0%, no annual escalator, the savings is over $84,000 with a conservative 4% utility rate hike. Now, I think it's kind of cool, 333 here a month.
So that 0% escalator is only $20 a month difference in more savings over time.
And it's usually on the back
Yeah,
12.
it's a back end, yeah.
So just to compare that to our lowest, almost no dealer fee loan here, 25-year 899, giving back the tax credit. of $17,000, you're at 372 and you're paying off 41K. So you really have to take a look. Does 333, no annual increase, 25 years, battery replacement,
Yeah.
insurance, production guarantee, monitoring, no loan, no debt to income, no cash, with a fixed no annual increase. Is that better for you, Mr. Customer, or would you like to own this and pay this off at 370 a month? So that's just a comparison of the GoodLeap TPO with the escalators versus the loan here.
What was the savings for that over 25 years?
Good question. $72,000.
There you go.
Yeah. I'm not sure what where are you getting 372 from? That's the loan payment. So I think we're not on the same page, but that's just the monthly loan payment.
Raj, I'm sorry, but your thing is happening. Didi might be able to guarantee you when she's done. Can I have that?
I'm not understanding. I'm not understanding what either of them are saying in the chat, but yeah.
Hey, Jonathan, what I'm saying is that you, like, if you do 372 and you pay over every month over 25 years, that comes to $111,000. So I don't understand how is that better than it's not equal to $40,000. So
that's
I mean,
because
that's what
there's
say when we have discussed.
That's because there's something called interest in a loan.
No, I understand that part, but what I'm saying is that I understand that part. I'm just saying that when you're saying the lease, what does the total gross is in the lease? Because that part was not clear to me. When you were comparing this finance to lease, what is that amount in the leasing or the TPO proposal?
I was just saying that
part.
the no annual increase with the lease is $333 a month, and the loan payment on this example is $372. Yeah, sorry, John. So yeah, I'm not sure what part of that I can help clarify more, but type in the chat, maybe we can get an answer for you. Okay, so moving on to the contract. If you're in California, there is something called a consumer protection guide. And it's, 30 pages. I'm not going to cover all of this with you. A lot of you aren't even in California. But basically, this is California specific that needs to be signed first before the agreement can be signed. And this applies to SoCal Edison, SDG&E, and PG&E. It actually doesn't apply to most of the municipalities, the smaller ones. And it's just warning, watch out for false claims. Anyone that's using the word free, no cost, time's running out. Make sure to get copies of the contract. Make sure that your salesperson is licensed, the company is licensed. Know if solar's a good fit, if there's low income programs. Know the difference between all the parties, who's doing what. And it definitely tells you, make sure you get referrals, they're qualified, questions you should be asking them, designs and warranties like we cover in our proposal presentations. I hope you do. Comparing your financing options. So it makes sure to educate them on cash, loan, PPA, leases, Hero PACE loans, whole bunch of stuff, savings, annual true ups. It's a little bit out of date, to be honest. And additional resources. So we sign this, then the homeowner signs this. All right, so getting to the actual solar agreement, usually there's a disclaimer on the front with the 5-day right to cancel. This is typical language. Depending on what state you're in, this may vary. But this is the GoodLeap Power Purchase Agreement contract. So I'll review some pertinent, important parts for you. And if there's any questions, type in the chat. So estimated year one monthly payment here is $169. That's equivalent to 17 cents a kilowatt hour. And this one does have an annual increase of 2.99%. The monthly payment displayed does include an auto pay discount. And the agreement is 25 years. She does have backup battery and solar with a 7.6 kilowatt, and then the estimated production here. GoodLeap will monitor and maintain the system for the entire term of the agreement. If you sell the home, it can be transferred to the new buyer, or all payments can be prepaid. At term, this agreement automatically renews in 1-year increments at the end of 25 years. You may terminate the agreement or renew it for 2 5-year terms or purchase the system outright. So this is what happens at the end of the 25 years. It will automatically renew for 1-year increments. You may terminate it, or the renewal option, you could do 2 5-year terms or purchase it for a predefined amount in the chat. In the contract, sorry. So, Mohammed, did you have a quick question on this? If not, let us know or type in the chat. So, a few key points here.
Yes, Jonathan.
Go for it.
Yeah, so on this GoodLeap TPO contract, I believe towards the bottom, it has the buyout options, and it basically varies depending on when you buy it. I know it's after 5 years.
Right.
I'm assuming this is a sample contract. Is there any way we can know what the purchase price would be prior to sending the contract? I'm dealing with one of the customers that want to see like how much would the system be in 5 years,
Right.
and I think we can't do it unless the contract is already sent. Is there a way to find out?
Yeah, you can just say, hey, sign the California disclaimer, and then the agreement will be in your email. You do not have to sign it. Let's review it together. So that's my advice. You could try calling GoodLeap customer service, but I did this to a customer. I was like, look, if you want to know that number, just go ahead and click review DocuSign. It'll be right there. One last thing too, Mohammed. GoodLeap's buyout numbers just got way better a few weeks ago. So what I've seen is whatever the cash price is, like 59K, it's around there in year 5. So I'll say that one more time. The buyout option in year 5 is roughly around the cash full price today starting in year 5. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense, especially for GoodLeap.
And that's
After they take,
actually pretty good in my opinion.
because that way they pocketed the 30%, really.
That's the only way to do this zero down in 5 years and barely make any money in the first 5 years. So yeah, that would be my 2 advice on that.
Okay, yeah, I think that they're just trying to compare purchase versus TPO, and they're asking all these questions. So that was the response I told them exactly. Was, let's run credit. You don't have to sign the agreement. If you change your mind, we can switch to cash. But
Yeah, I wish there was an easy way to get it, but I'm not aware of one.
okay, thank you.
Yeah, my pleasure. Besides the 25 years on the system, there is a 10-year roof penetration warranty for GoodLeap. And you can purchase after year 5. I want to make clear too, there's something called buyout or purchase, and then there's something called prepay. Prepay is where you're paying off the remainder of the payments for the 25-year term, and you're keeping the lease. Buyout or purchase is where you buy the system from GoodLeap after year 5 or time of sale, and that'll be further down here as well. So just a few more things here. There's a 2% credit card fee. There's late payment fees. And then we got the 2.9 annual increase. So some of the good data is right here as far as this agreement goes. Power purchase agreement, panels, inverters, and batteries are all spelled out here, which is nice. And I keep going down here. Taxes are usually built into the monthly amount. There is a performance guarantee, which is outlined in Exhibit 8. So if it fails to meet a predefined production amount, there is usually a credit that gets paid every 2 years is when this credit will get paid. And it looks like underproduction will be credited towards a future payment is how this works here. Going to keep going down. Monitoring is with this system. Some pretty basic obligations, access, property maintenance, trees, things like that. Repair insurance, no home liens. There is usually still a UCC1 fixture filing. It's not technically classified as a lien here. It's just expressing interest on the ownership of that solar system while GoodLeap owns it. Keep going down here. Any change orders must be confirmed with an amendment to this agreement. All right, I really want to get down to some of the buyouts and payout prepays and the production guarantee as we start to wrap up. So selling your home, this agreement can transfer and the monthly payments. Either they meet GoodLeap's credit requirements or the seller or the buyer of the home pays a $250 credit check waiver fee, which is why they guarantee this can transfer to the new purchaser of the home. If you sell the home, you could purchase the system, or you can prepay this agreement as well. Let's get down more. Purchasing occurs at the end of the 5th anniversary or at the end of the term or time of sale, and it's going to be broken out for us. Prepayment is also broken out for us. At the end of the term, you can renew this agreement. There's an automatic 1-year renewal. You do have a right to purchase at the end as well. And arbitration, can't sue them in courts, yada, yada, yada. The warranty length is for 25 years. The roof penetration is for 10 years. I'm going to call out one specific caveat on batteries. If the battery's manufacturer's warranty during the 25 years, if the battery dips below the manufacturer's warranty of the battery, GoodLeap will repair or replace the battery for the 25-year term.
Is that stated anywhere in the contract, Jonathan? I was looking for that and I couldn't find anything that says batteries were covered for 25.
It's very nuanced. It's like batteries will be replaced for the term. Let me see if I could find that. Let me come back to that. I knew how to find it in the LightReach contract, but I'll just wrap up these other two things and then I'll come right back to it.
Yeah, even if it's on a slide, a presentation on a GoodLeap or something, because I couldn't find anything. I can see it in the LightReach, but I couldn't see it on GoodLeaps.
Yeah, let me circle back to that in just a minute here so we can close this out. Here's the performance guarantee. So if the system fails to produce this amount in the first 2 years, 19,932, then they will be credited at 17.6 cents a kilowatt hour. And it continues on every 2 years thereafter. So that's a pretty cool selling point with the performance guarantee. I believe most every market has a performance guarantee. There might be a market or two that does not have a performance guarantee. We can see the monthly payment with or without auto pay. And here we can see the prepayment price. If they want to pay off the remaining 25-year lease payments, PPA payments, This is the prepay on the left. And then we have the buyout option on the right. So at year 5, they could buy it out for 63 grand. This is before they really improve the prices of the buyout, by the way. So they have significantly improved this last 30 days. And then you can see at the end of the 25 years, this system's only 4 grand. Since they've improved these prices, it's probably 2 grand now. So that's really cool that we could show them prepay or buyout options throughout the entire 25
Are they
years.
the same, Jonathan? Prepay and buyout? They look like they're the same.
In this one, they are. But I do know that they have changed these numbers quite a bit for the better the last 30 days. So I would just double check the new agreement on this.
Sinful.
All right. So if you had questions, hope you're typing in the chat. Tom in leadership is taking care of it. We are at the top of the hour here. So I'm going to see if I can find the battery warranty here before we close this up, and I can hang out for a few minutes to do a little open office hour. But I appreciate you being on. Now is summertime, July 1st. We have a 6-month possible credit, tax credit to go here. So let's get out there and get after it, team. Let me go ahead and see if I can find the battery warranty here.
Want me to stop the recording here?
Yeah, let's go ahead and wrap up the recording. Thank you, Tom.